New Year's is always sold as a perfect reset button for life. The countdown hits zero, fireworks explode, glasses clink, and millions of people suddenly believe that crossing into January 1st magically turns them into wiser, more responsible versions of themselves. It doesn't. 5 minutes after midnight, humanity starts the new year, making the same bad decisions as before, just with higher confidence and worse judgment. Not because we didn't learn anything, but because we're convinced this year is different. This isn't a motivational speech. It's a record of what humans actually do when they're tired, tipsy, overconfident, and emotionally fragile at midnight. Welcome to 30 dumb New Year decisions humans repeat every single year like a tradition no one remembers signing up for. 1. Setting off fireworks inside your house is the moment someone decides to personally challenge physics in their own living room. The logic is always the same, it's just a small one. A sentence that has introduced countless insurance claims and very uncomfortable conversations. Fireworks are designed to go up, not to negotiate with drywall. But on New Year's Eve, once alcohol enters the bloodstream, the ceiling becomes a substitute sky. The fuse light sparks fly, and everyone learns there is no such thing as an indoor-safe firework. Smoke fills the room. The fire alarm screams like it's counting down again, and people freeze trying to remember who said don't worry. The ceiling remembers. It keeps the burn mark like a personal museum exhibit from last year. On January 1st, sunlight hits that blackened patch and delivers a quiet lesson in basic science. The year barely started, but the house already has a memory. Fireworks don't celebrate with you. They just do their job. 2. Hugging strangers at midnight is one of the weirdest social rituals humans pretend is normal. 10 seconds earlier, you were avoiding eye contact and respecting personal space. Then the countdown hits zero, and suddenly you're wrapped around someone whose name you don't know. No introductions, no context, just fireworks, alcohol, and an unspoken agreement that boundaries are optional for 30 seconds. Perfume mixes with beer, someone else's jacket becomes your personal space, and your brain shuts off all reasonable questions. It feels like pure human connection. In reality, it's a zero-information hug with no warranty. 5 minutes later, you're both pretending it never happened while awkwardly avoiding each other near the bathroom. Some hugs turn into cute stories, some turn into awkward explanations, and a few turn into seasonal illnesses. New Year's Eve doesn't care. It encourages random intimacy and moves on. 3. Jumping into a lake or the ocean in the middle of winter for a fresh start is when symbolism loses a fight with biology. The idea sounds poetic. Cold water cleanses the past and wakes the spirit. Your body does not care. The moment you hit the water, your lungs tighten, your brain panics, and every inspirational thought disappears instantly. You don't feel reborn, you feel painfully cold. Friends cheer from the shore and call it bravery. Science calls it a survival reflex under stress. When you're pulled back out shaking in a towel, you're not thinking about New Year goals. You're wondering why you believed freezing pain would lead to enlightenment. The year begins with chattering teeth and a story for a medical professional. Not all discomfort has meaning. Sometimes it's just a bad idea to wear a festive costume. 4. Lighting candles all over the house for New Year vibes is what happens when aesthetics are trusted more than fire safety. Every flat surface gets a candle. The room looks magical. Candles, unfortunately, do not understand vibes. They understand burning. Once alcohol lowers awareness, things like curtains, paper towels, and hair start getting very close to open flames. Nobody remembers who lit the 12th candle. Everyone remembers the smell of smoke arriving early. The fire alarm doesn't care about ambiance. It screams like the only sober voice in the room. Suddenly, the year starts with people running around looking for a fire extinguisher and wondering how the fire escalated so fast. Candles plus alcohol are not festive energy. It's a predictable experiment. If your new year begins by putting out a fire, congratulations. You learned something quickly. 5. Calling your ex at 12 o'clock is the unofficial New Year tradition of believing emotional growth arrives on schedule. The countdown ends, fireworks are still going, and your brain whispers the most dangerous thought possible. It's a new year. I'm different now. Different apparently means ready to reopen a conversation that died months ago. Alcohol amplifies feelings. Music romanticizes memories, and your hand dials before logic catches up. You're not calling because you miss them. You're calling because loneliness dressed up as hope. On the other end, either no one answers or a sleepy voice reminds you that time passing is not the same as lessons learned. The call ends when the battery dies, followed by regret that sobers faster than coffee. The calendar moved forward. Your habits stayed right where you left them. 6. Driving after a party because you think it was only a few drinks is the dumbest decision wrapped in the highest level of confidence. You stand up, laugh loudly, pat your chest, and announce you're fine. The keys jingle like proof of innocence. The road looks familiar. The traffic lights feel friendly, and your brain is busy convincing itself that physics has exceptions for people who are having fun. A few drinks quietly turn into a series of small decisions, each worse than the last. Reaction time stretches, distance shrinks, and everything you ever learned about safety sinks under a thin layer of confidence. No one who drives drunk thinks they're dangerous. Everyone thinks they're the special case. That belief is how accidents happen. The new year doesn't need a tragedy to get started. If you're asking yourself whether you're okay to drive, the answer already isn't yes. The smartest move on New Year's Eve is letting the keys stay put and your ego sit down with them. 7. Climbing onto the roof to watch fireworks starts with a very human thought: it'll look better from up there. That logic skips one detail. Roofs are not designed to be seating areas. You climb up in flip-flops, beer in hand, cold wind in your face, fully convinced your balance is better than it is. Fireworks explode. You raise your phone, adjust the angle, lean just a little more. Gravity, which has been patient all year, decides to participate. The roof does not care about the new year. It does its job. The slip happens faster than a countdown, and the ending usually isn't applause, but an ambulance siren. Neighbors remember you not for the footage, but for the unscheduled acrobatics. Climbing the roof doesn't make you a photographer. It makes you a reminder that no shot is worth cracked ribs. If you want a higher view, stand on the ground and look up. The fireworks still happen, the year still changes, and you enter it on your feet, not on a stretcher. 8. Eating so much that you end up in the emergency room is what happens when superstition beats basic biology. Starting the year full so the whole year will be abundant sounds convincing when your stomach is empty. You pile food like you're preparing for a nuclear winter, mixing salt, sugar, grease, and tradition into one massive meal and calling it prosperity. Your body does not read blessings. The stomach has limits. Digestion has rules. Enzymes were not warned about your spiritual plan. Bite 10 is momentum. Bite 15 is a social obligation. Bite 20 is a medical challenge. When the pain starts, you tell yourself you just ate a little too fast. A little too fast turns into a hospital visit where a doctor listens to your New Year explanation with the face of someone who has heard them all. Full does not mean lucky. Stuffed does not mean blessed. The year doesn't need you to sacrifice your digestive system to prove belief. Eat enough to live, not enough to make the ambulance part of your tradition. 9. Firing a gun into the air to celebrate New Year's Eve is the moment humans temporarily unsubscribe from physics. The idea sounds powerful, loud, festive. In the shooter's mind, the bullet politely disappears once it reaches the sky. In reality, bullets do not celebrate. They don't care about midnight. They do one thing very reliably. They come down, always somewhere, always on someone who had nothing to do with your decision. The cruel part is that the person pulling the trigger rarely knows what they caused. They go home, pop champagne, post New Year vibes, while a hospital records an injury with no owner. Shooting into the air isn't a tradition. It's a lottery of gravity, and everyone else buys the ticket. The year will arrive without noise. If you want loud, shout. If you want excitement, dance. Guns do not belong anywhere near celebration emotion or alcohol. 10. Burning lucky envelopes or wish papers indoors is what happens when spirituality meets modern fire safety systems. The idea sounds poetic. Write a wish burn. It let the smoke carry it upward. The problem is, the universe doesn't need smoke, and smoke detectors take their job very seriously. You think it's just a small piece of paper. The alarm thinks it's a full emergency. Seconds later, the building enters the new year to piercing sirens, neighbors in pajamas, and security guards with expressions of deep exhaustion. Fire trucks show up not because your wish was powerful, but because apartment buildings don't have a holiday mode. At that moment, the only remaining wish is for the alarm to stop. Burning paper doesn't send dreams higher. It just gets you noticed in the building group chat. If you want a better year, keep the wish and do something about it. The universe can hear you without smoke. Your neighbors would really appreciate it. 11. Mixing every type of alcohol in one night is the moment humans decide their liver has unlimited adaptability. The first drink is civilized. The second has a story. By the third, someone says you have to try this. By the fifth, the border between beer, wine, cocktails, and a mysterious colored liquid handed to you by a friend no longer exists. You're not drunk. You're exploring. At least that's what you tell yourself. Your body is quietly logging everything with impressive long-term memory. It doesn't complain right away. It waits. It waits until the next morning when your head feels like it's been replaced with concrete, your mouth has the humidity of a desert, and your memories play back like an experimental art film. You open your phone and find messages you don't remember sending, calls you don't remember making, and one photo you definitely don't remember thinking was a good idea. Mixing drinks doesn't make the night better. It just compresses every bad decision into a single evening for efficiency. The new year hasn't even started, and your body has already filed a formal complaint. And your liver, the quietest employee you have, just clocks in for overtime without ever being asked. 12. Kissing the wrong person on New Year's Eve happens faster than your brain can reload facial data. The countdown starts, people squeeze closer, the lights dim at exactly the wrong moment, and you turn to kiss the person next to you with absolute confidence that you know who they are. The kiss is clean, decisive, no hesitation. Then the lights come back on. Reality enters without knocking. The face in front of you is not who you thought, not who you came with, not who you texted, not even someone you spoke to that night. Just a complete stranger, frozen, processing the same system error. Both of you step back at the same time like it was choreographed. No one speaks for a few seconds because no dialogue was written for this scenario. Then comes an apology, an awkward laugh, and a mutual agreement to pretend this never happened. New Year's Eve is about fresh starts, but not every connection needs to begin that way. If you're not sure who you're kissing, waiting a few seconds is a solid strategy. Or at least wait until the lights are on. 13. Climbing statues or public structures to count down the new year is when people decide height equals meaning. Standing on the ground feels too ordinary. To make the moment special, you need to be on top of a bronze hero, a bridge railing, or something clearly marked, "Do not climb." Up there, you don't see danger. You see perspective. You see fireworks. You see yourself above the crowd below who are boringly safe. The countdown echoes, the wind picks up. The surface under your shoes was not designed for sneakers, and gravity remembers it still has a job. No one has ever thought, "I wish I climbed higher," while waiting for an ambulance. Yet every year, someone believes blessings arrive faster if you ignore physics. Public monuments are built to stand still, not to support an excited, off-balance adult filming vertically. Climbing doesn't make the year luckier. It just turns you into the reason cities add more fences next year. 14. Releasing massive amounts of balloons or sky lanterns on New Year's Eve is when people collectively decide the sky is a trash can with an auto-close lid. It looks beautiful in the moment. Balloons rise, lights float. People clap and no one thinks beyond where their eyes can follow. They'll just disappear is an extremely optimistic sentence. Nothing up there magically recycles itself. Those things come down. They land in trees, power lines, oceans, fields, in places you will never have to clean. Nature did not sign a cleanup contract for your celebration. Animals don't understand symbolism. They see strings, plastic, and things that look like food but aren't. Every new year, people send wishes into the sky and responsibilities down to the ground. The funny part is that everyone believes they're creating something meaningful when they're really just delaying consequences for a few hours. If your wish requires airborne litter to work, the problem might not be altitude. 15. Dressing completely wrong for the weather, just to get New Year's photos, is when humans decide the body is merely an accessory. It's near freezing, the wind hurts, but a thin dress fits the vibe. The coat stays home because it ruins the silhouette. Shivering becomes an artistic effect. In that moment, you're not cold, you're committed. Cameras click, smiles slowly stiffen, fingers lose feeling but still grip the phone for dear life. People around you in heavy jackets watch with a mix of admiration and concern, like they're witnessing voluntary survival training. When the photos are done, you finally put the coat on and exhale like you just finished a challenge. The pictures look amazing. The caption is deep. What no one sees is you shaking behind the scenes like bad Wi-Fi. The year hasn't delivered anything yet, but it's already taught a familiar lesson. Fashion doesn't suffer, weather doesn't negotiate, and your body doesn't care about likes. It just wants to be warm. 16. Forgetting kids or pets during a party is what happens when adults decide it's fine counts as a management strategy. The party is crowded, the music is loud, the drinks are flowing, and attention gets split into tiny pieces. The kids were right there earlier, the pets too. Then someone pours another drink, a familiar song comes on, and a story suddenly needs to be told. Time passes. No one means to forget. They're just busy living in the moment, until a cry comes from another room or the dog is no longer where dogs usually are. The room freezes. Everyone looks at each other with the same question. Who was watching celebration turns into a search operation in about 3 seconds. Most stories end well with everyone found, just tired and confused. But the moment lands. The new year doesn't need more fireworks. It needs one person to remember that responsibility doesn't take the night off. Living your best life doesn't mean forgetting the smaller lives depending on you to stay sober enough to notice them. 17. Making wildly unrealistic New Year's resolutions is the moment people look in the mirror at 11:59 and decide they'll become a completely different person overnight. Not gradual improvement. Total transformation. This year, you'll wake up at 5 a.m. every day, work out, eat clean, read 50 books, quit bad habits, make more money, love yourself, and maybe casually learn another language. The resolution is written with maximum confidence and signed with wine and fireworks. It feels sacred. Then January 3rd arrives. The alarm goes off. Your hand turns it off without consulting your new identity. The resolution stays quiet. It doesn't argue. It understands you better than you think. Every year, people are shocked to discover they're still themselves. Not worse, not magically better, just familiar. Instead of setting realistic goals, we choose dramatic ones because they make us feel in control for a few minutes. The year begins with a heroic plan, then slowly shifts into a more useful skill, learning not to punish yourself when you fail to become a brand new human by Monday. 18. Jumping from a balcony into a pool is a decision that usually follows the sentence, "It looks cool in movies." In your head, the scene is perfect. Lights, glowing friends, cheering your body flying through the air like a cinematic moment. What gets left out is physics height and the fact that real pools aren't designed for amateur stunt performers. Balconies create the illusion that water is closer and softer than it actually is. Water at the wrong speed is not forgiving. Right before the jump, the brain rarely checks the plan. It only asks one question: is someone filming? Then the feet leave the railing and common sense stays behind, yelling too late. The landing never looks like the movie. There's no soundtrack, no slow motion, just a splash and a very awkward silence. Friends rush over not to applaud, but to ask if you're still functional. The new year hasn't delivered any achievements yet, but it's already provided a clear lesson. Not everything that looks cool on screen needs to be recreated in real life, especially without a medical team waiting nearby. 19. Building homemade fireworks from YouTube tutorials is what happens when people decide the algorithm has an engineering degree. The video is 8 minutes long, the thumbnail is colorful, and the comments say, "Just follow the steps." That feels like enough certification to turn a garage into a lab. The instructions sound simple, so the brain ignores the small text saying, "Do not try this at home." Alcohol shows up to boost creativity because nothing improves judgment like reducing it. The firework is assembled with total faith that science respects confidence. Lighting is always dramatic. Everyone holds their breath. Then the sound happens, and it doesn't sound like a celebration. It sounds like consequences. Smoke burning smells wide eyes, and someone asking, "Does anyone have water?" Later, everyone insists they did exactly what the video said. YouTube is fine, your house is not. The new year begins with the realization that DIY isn't always cheaper, and confidence is not a substitute for knowledge. If you want fireworks, stores already sell them. If you want a powerful experience, just look at the repair bill. 20. Getting into the wrong bus or taxi because you think it's yours is a New Year's social experiment that works perfectly at midnight when everything looks the same and everyone feels the same. It's cold outside, your head is loud, and a vehicle stopping nearby convinces your brain this must be it. You open the door, sit down, relax, and start the year with a small sense of victory. That feeling lasts until the driver asks a very reasonable question, or worse, says nothing and starts driving. You realize you're in a parallel universe when the view outside looks familiar but wrong. Your phone opens maps, battery at 5%, and the silence gets long. You politely ask to get out, politely apologize, and politely laugh like this was all intentional. Meanwhile, your friends are still waiting, texting, "Where are you?" The year starts with an unplanned mini journey and a reminder that not every vehicle is meant for you, and not every quick decision is a good one. At least you get a story to open the year, and a promise to yourself to check the license plate next time. 21. Falling asleep before midnight is the body's way of announcing it does not care about cosmic turning points. You had plans. You were going to stay up, countdown, hug people, and pop champagne. Instead, your eyes closed at 11:32 with the extremely confident thought just resting for a minute. Then your brain shut down like it was installing an update. You wake up to a phone full of Happy New Year messages, fireworks already archived in collective memory, and the unsettling realization that the calendar moved on without you. There's a brief existential fog. Who am I? What year is it? And why does everyone seem ahead of me? Social media confirms it. Everyone is glowing under fireworks. You are hugging a pillow. It's fine, you tell yourself. The new year is a social construct, not a biological requirement. Still, something is humbling about missing the moment you were supposed to reinvent yourself. On the bright side, you enter the year well rested. And with a gentle truth, no one is guarding the gate of time. It opens and closes whether you're awake or snoring. 22. Dragging the whole group outside during a snowstorm to welcome the new year properly is what happens when humans believe rituals can negotiate with weather. The idea sounds poetic, standing together, counting down feeling nature. Reality shows up as wind slicing faces, snow slapping sideways, and everyone quietly calculating how many fingers they can still feel. You shout encouragement, but the wind does not listen. It just gets louder. Champagne freezes faster than optimism. Phones shut down from the cold, and the once perfect moment exists only in shaky memory. Someone laughs from hypothermia, someone cries because mascara betrayed them, and someone stands very still because their shoes have become ice blocks. The countdown arrives late and is missing numbers because the wind stole them. The new year shows up anyway. Everyone shares the same look. Let's go inside. Nature does not care about your symbolism. It just does what it does. A proper new year turns out to be the moment everyone gets warm and admits meaning isn't found in suffering. It's found in knowing when to go back indoors. 23. Burning money or belongings to get rid of bad luck is the moment spirituality meets actual fire. The logic is simple. Bad year, burn it away, start fresh. Some burn cash, some burn old clothes. Some get creative and burn things that still work because they're contaminated by last year. Flames rise, people nod, and for a moment it feels decisive. Then the wind shifts, ash blows back. Plastic smells appear and reality politely knocks. Bad luck hasn't even left yet, but the neighbors are already outside. Money disappears quickly, no magic required. What remains is a very practical question: if burning fixed problems, why wouldn't banks accept lighters instead of payments? Fire feels powerful, like you've done something bold for your future. In reality, you've just turned value into smoke. The new year does not become kinder. Your wallet just becomes lighter. When the ashes settle, the lesson is clear. The fastest thing to burn is not bad luck, it's cash. 24. Joining New Year's internet challenges is how everyone's doing it becomes a legal defense in your own mind. The challenge is wrapped in upbeat music, big text, and reassuring vibes. Just for fun, totally safe. You watch a few clips. Everyone seems fine, smiling, alive. Confidence spreads. You ignore the small warning text because you assume you'll be the successful version. Camera on, action. And within seconds, reality edits the script. A slip, a fall, or that heavy silence when you realize this was a mistake. The video gets posted. The internet moves fast. Pain moves more slowly. Comments arrive before ice packs. Some laugh. Some warn others not to try it. Some tag you as the example. Your year starts with the lesson that not every challenge is a test of fun. Sometimes it's a test of whether you read instructions. The internet is excellent at remembering the results. 25. Setting off fireworks near pets is how humans begin the year by stress testing creatures who never agreed to the celebration. You see small fireworks, pretty colors. You assume the noise won't be that bad. Meanwhile, your dog hears frequencies that convince its brain the apocalypse has been rescheduled. Cats disappear from reality. Dogs search desperately for exits. You stand there confused, asking why they're so dramatic. Pets do not understand New Year celebrations. They do not separate art from explosions. To them, every bang is a reason to flee. The result is rarely a magical photo. It's a shaking dog under the table, a missing cat for several hours, and you're spending January 1st searching instead of reflecting. Their year begins with fear. Yours begins with guilt. Fireworks fade quickly. The memory of the noise lasts much longer than you expect. 26. Counting down in the wrong time zone is what happens when confidence outpaces geography. You open a live stream, see a countdown from a city very far away, and decide time is probably flexible tonight. 3, 2, 1. You cheer, you hug, you raise your glass, you post the story. Everyone is celebrating until someone quietly checks their phone and asks, "Wait, isn't it still 10 minutes away?" The silence lasts just long enough for reality to settle in. You've celebrated a future that hasn't arrived yet. The real fireworks haven't happened, but the emotional ones are already spent. When the actual moment finally comes, there's no climax left, just recycled music and a few polite claps. It's not dangerous, just deeply awkward. You don't know whether to celebrate again or pretend the first one counted. The new year starts with a simple lesson. Time does not care how excited you are. It arrives exactly when it wants to, whether you're ready or already out of energy. 27. Throwing old stuff out the window to leave the old year behind is when symbolism loses a fight with physics. The item is usually something you're tired of, something that carries a year's worth of frustration. In your head, once it leaves the apartment, the bad energy goes with it. The window opens, your arm swings. Relief arrives right on schedule. Then the sound from below reminds you that the planet is still functioning normally. There's no black hole absorbing the past. There's only someone else's car parked very neatly and very innocently. The year hasn't even started, and reality has already sent a notification. Neighbors look up without needing subtitles. You look down and begin calculating how emotionally necessary that item was compared to the repair bill. The old year doesn't disappear. It just changes form from memory into paperwork. Letting go turns into apologizing, explaining, and relearning a very old lesson about gravity. If you want to leave the past behind, do it quietly, and preferably without involving other people's property in your healing process. 28. Believing that everything will magically get better on January 1st is a decision humanity makes unanimously every year without a vote. Midnight passes, the calendar flips, and your brain treats it like a system update. Bad habits should uninstall themselves. Complicated problems should take a hint and calm down. You wake up on January 1st in the same bed with the same body and the same to-do list, just with more Happy New Year messages. You sit there waiting for the improvement to kick in, like waiting for Wi-Fi to get stronger, because today is a special date. Time remains polite. It keeps moving, no promises, no arguments. This belief survives because it feels good. It gives you permission to delay just a little longer, because it's still early in the year. But nothing improves because of a number on a calendar. Things change when you do something slightly different than yesterday. January 1st is not a reset button. It's just a reminder that you're still here with the same responsibilities and the same ability to deal with them. 29. Eating unfamiliar food for good luck is what happens when the body gets invited into a spiritual ritual it never agreed to. The dish looks questionable. It smells unfamiliar. No one can clearly explain what's in it. But someone says, you have to try it. It's lucky, and that feels convincing enough. The first bite goes down with optimism. The second comes with concern. By the third, your stomach schedules an emergency meeting. Your body does not care that this is tradition. It only cares whether this is safe. While you're busy believing luck is being downloaded, your digestive system prepares for a very active start to the year. The new year begins with you searching for a bathroom and reflecting deeply on decisions made while hungry, drunk, and overly trusting. Luck remains unproven. Biology does not. Your stomach does not read blessings. It does not understand it's new year you have to. It just does its job. And that job does not include cooperating with the belief that mystery food brings good fortune. 30. Video calling your family while drunk is how many people choose to close the year with a digital legacy. The intention is pure. You miss them. You feel emotional. You want to say something meaningful. Unfortunately, emotion arrives at the same time as alcohol. The camera turns on. Your face appears slightly off angle. Your voice carries a confidence you won't recognize until the next morning. You summarize the entire year in 10 minutes, repeat yourself, overshare, and add details no one asked for. Your family smiles, nods, and quietly remembers everything. The call ends. You sleep well, convinced you connected deeply. The next morning arrives with a hazy memory and a gentle message checking in. What you forgot is that the internet does not drink with you. The cloud does not forget. Awkward comments, personal stories, and unexplained facial expressions are stored with perfect loyalty. The memory of the new year doesn't just live in your family's hearts. It also lives in the call history, and it will resurface exactly when you think it's long gone. And that brings us full circle. Another new year entered with enormous confidence and the exact same judgment skills. Not to shame anyone, just to admit something comforting. Every one of us has had at least one moment that started with "it'll be fine" and ended with immediate regret. If you found yourself nodding or laughing uncomfortably, congratulations. You're in the majority. Now it's your turn. What New Year's decision still makes you want to disappear from the group chat, or worse, something you witnessed and still don't know whether to laugh or worry about? Drop it in the comments and let us all learn together. And if you enjoy content that gently reminds us humans are very confident and not always correct, stick around. The year is long and the stories are never running out.